It is now time for our morning devotion, and glad to have the senator from the 54th to introduce his chaplain of the day. And I will recognize the senator of the 54th to join in our Pledge of Allegiance and also introduce our chaplain of the day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and the Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, moderation, courage. Friends, it's an honor to bring our guest pastor of the day today, and for those of you who know me and know what I got to do for 30 years, I worked Department of Juvenile Justice as state probation officer, and it was my calling to do that, and it was my mission field that I got to work in and had the privilege to work in. And just to share with you just something that happened in the last couple months. I spoke to one of my former probationers. He reached out to me, calling me because he had an issue. Turns out he's in his 40s, which means I'm old, really old now. But after we were talking on the phone, I was on my way here, actually, one morning, and he said, "Chuck, can I pray for you?" And to go from that young man sitting in my office that probably at one time hated everything that was coming out of my mouth and everything I stood for, to now be praying over me, I just say that, to tell you that, just know that there is a God, and He does work within the hearts and minds of people. But Emily Kelly, I met her through this job, and she serves as the director of the Office of Chaplaincy Services for the Georgia Department of Juvenile Justice. Chaplain Kelly first began as a chaplain intern at Metro RYDC, Regional Youth Detention Center, in 2015 while attending Emory University's Candler School of Theology. She continued as a religious volunteer and was hired as the Northwest Georgia Regional Chaplain in 2018. In addition, she earned her Master of Divinity from Emory University. Chaplain Kelly is a provisional deacon within the United Methodist Church and has held a clear discernment for working at the Department of Juvenile Justice throughout her ordination process. She believes that taking the time to truly see and hear each person we interact with, we can actually change the world. To hear the hearts and souls of other people, we can change the world. It's my honor to introduce to you Emily Kelly.
Good morning, good morning. It is truly an honor to be here this morning. The youth we serve within the Department of Juvenile Justice are always in some sort of transition. So you'll find a copy of a prayer that we're going to be looking at today as we prepare and also as a way as we center down for this final day. It starts with saying, it helps now and then to step back and to take a long view. The kingdom is not only beyond our efforts, it is even beyond our vision. We accomplish in our lifetime only a tiny fraction of the magnificent enterprise that is God's work. Nothing we do is complete, which is a way of saying that the kingdom always lies beyond us. No statement says all that could be said. No prayer fully expresses our faith. No confession brings perfection. No pastoral visit brings wholeness. No program accomplishes the church's mission. No set of goals and objectives includes everything. This is what we are about. We plant the seeds that one day will grow. We water seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide yeast that produces far beyond our capabilities. We cannot do everything. And there is a sense of liberation with realizing that. This enables us to do something and to do it very well. It may be incomplete, but it is a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for the Lord's grace to enter in and do the rest. We may never see the end results, but that is the difference between the master builder and the worker. We are workers, not master builders. Ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future not our own. Amen. Now, I've not known Senator Chuck Payne long, as some of y'all may. However, I have a feeling that it does not take long to learn that he believes that we shall hope instead of want. In fact, a little birdie has shared with me that if you're going to speak to Senator Payne, that you must wrap it up in a gift of hope. Now, I think we want to see this as a beautifully wrapped gift, but I'm also reminded of how a room looks when the gifts have become unwrapped. There's wrapping paper all over the floor, it's under chairs and tables, it's halfway but not completely inside the garbage bag. This disheveled image of hope is what presents hope in my mind. As the prayer we read says, it helps now and then to step back and take a long view. Can we take a step back, or are we so caught up with what we think we want? As a chaplain, I respond to various situations, and I have to remind myself to take a step back before entering into a pastoral care moment. I think back to a youth I was notified about who had just learned that his brother had died. As I was walking to see the youth, I knew that we had never had an interaction that ended with him asking me if I could pray for him. And so while I wanted to pray for him, and I wanted to take away the pain-filled grief away from him, I knew that those words would only be a temporary act of trying to problem solve. I could have checked a box, but I would not be acting on a vision of ministry that I hope for. Instead of rewrapping the gift, I did not pray aloud for this youth. I instead did my best to collect the torn wrapping paper. And I asked him instead if he would want to read a book with me. I gave him Howard Thurman's Meditations of the Heart. And each week we would get together and wrestle with the text. And at the end of every time we would meet, I would ask him how I could be praying for him. And he would respond, I don't know. Now, is this the answer that I wanted? No. But finally, one day when I asked how I could be praying for him, he said to me, he opened up and shared the prayers with me. And we sat on the gym floor together and we prayed. Now I was able to, a year later, anoint him with oil following his baptism. This story puts into perspective of why our hope must overcome our desire to want. The prayer we first read says that nothing we do will be complete. You entered into this position within the Senate with your own sense of calling, an own vision of hope. You have spent countless hours, and on this final day, I feel like I should say countless hours again, striving to make the state of Georgia a better state. You have built on its foundation. What is your vision of hope? Take the time to take a step back and to remind yourself why you first felt called to this position. Will you pray with me? Almighty Creator, we understand that we are merely adding to a foundation that is ever-changing. You give us the ability to have a vision of hope. Allow for each person here to recognize the community of people that they have around them and the various visions of hope that each person has. Liberate our minds as we remember that we cannot do everything, but enable us to do something. While it may be incomplete, it is a beginning. May the presence of God be felt and seen in this space. May a vision of hope remain throughout our time. Amen.